Welcome back to All the Crackers in the Box. Hi, it's me, your friend Corey, hanging out wearing my Alameda Enchanting Eva shawl that I finished recently. Okay, well, a little while ago, but it's too hot to wear it all the time, so I'm just pulling it out because I love it. You can't stop me from wearing it. And I made this with sheeple, CHEEPJES. I don't know. I struggle with that so bad. My mom's always laughing at me. She laughs at my pronunciation on everything. Anyway, working on knitting today. Getting that jump on Christmas so far. They're holding steady with no big holes. I'm really excited it's actually working out. I'm glad you're here today. Let's hang out. So first things first, tension ring. This has made a world of difference, I think, with my knitting. I'm not sure if it's because I went down the size and started using this ring, or a conjunction of both, because I went down a needle size. That seems to be working quite well compared to what was going on before, which was I was getting loose stitches that were turning into a bit of a problem because they were so loose it was turning into little holes. And I'm working really hard on making sure my tension stays the same. So we're using a 3.5 millimeter knitting needle because I don't think it's my technique per se. I learned how to knit out of old books from like the 60s and my grandmother. I just don't hold the yarn through my fingers like it said to, and it drove my grandma crazy. I could not do it. I just can't. I'm supposed to thread it through, up and over and under and around and around. I'm like, wow, that is just a lot. Mom's like, well, there's reasons for that. And I understand that. I just cannot seem to get my head around it. I can't seem to get the hang of it, no matter how many years I've done this. And I have been knitting since I was like 12, so that's more years than I'd like to admit on camera. That's okay. That is alright. So this is going to be a sweater or a cardigan for my eldest child. He picked the yarn. And so far I'm loving the way the striping is going on with the knitting. It was definitely different with crochet because I made 2 shirts for my daughters out of the pink strawberry ice cream. Lion brand ice cream. Mega Scoops, these are called. I got this at Michael's for about $14 here in Canada. Here in Canada, all my pricing is going to be a lot more than the people there in the United States where your yarn sounds cheaper. We just pay more. Somewhat, it's kind of complicated. It's that whole difference in dollars. But that's the way the cookie crumbles, I guess. I'm just kind of used to it. As a child, we used to go to the States for shopping, and now if you do that, you have to pay a lot more for getting it across the border, so it's not even worth doing that anymore. So much ordering things from out of country is really costing a lot, getting hit with a lot of extra charges, and that I believe is just trying to recoup some losses over the pandemic time, because there was a lot of um, the government carrying regular people through, and that makes sense. But now, these losses have to be recouped, and that's probably one of the ways that they're doing it. I kind of figured that was going to be the case, so I'm glad I got the yarn I did when I did, and now I just have to be very, very careful, very, very picky. I'm not just going to jump on every single sale because I know there's probably going to be tariffs and import fees and all sorts of extra costs that are not usually put in. Like, say, for example, when I order from Hobbii, I love their yarn. However, it says $9.99. It's going to cost me $12 something because of the rate difference, because it's in America and they don't do Canadian. Which, sad. Makes me sad. Then there is now charging on shipping when there wasn't at a certain point. So you buy like $100 worth and you would get free shipping. And I believe the rumor is, through the grapevine, is anything over 100 to 135, it seems to be the spot where you get charged like $20, $25 for your import fees. And even the mail delivery people were not sure what the cutoff is. They're not in that section of the postal service. I personally don't go through DHL because no matter what, they're going to cost you $22.50 is what I had to pay when I won my Hobbii Bingo, because they sent it automatically through DHL, and they made me pay this even if there wasn't a charge. So I wasn't too happy about that, but the yarn was free and it was very expensive yarn, so I was like, fine. You're not sending it back. Because that's what they told me they'd do if I did not pay this. So I felt a little bit like this was highway robbery. So if you have a company or do prizes and stuff like that, be aware that sometimes these companies are going to charge the other end as well as you. So they charged them for shipping, and then they charged me for receiving. And I was just like, okay, cool. And I was watching it closely, and it went through customs like that. It didn't get stuck. It was not stuck. It sat at their warehouse longer than it sat in customs. They ran it through real quick because it was not a big order. Anyway. But yeah, if you're going to go through DHL, it's going to cost you an arm and leg. And this was like just over a year ago that I won, and I paid $22.50. I'm hearing that it's $30.50 now, so it's got up like $10 for DHL. If you can afford it, cool. If you don't mind waiting a couple days, it's a lot cheaper to go through the regular mail. But anyway, the pitfalls of ordering yarn online. But I am lucky enough that I can order from Mary Maxim, and Mary Maxim is mostly based out of Canada, so that is really cool. I like Mary Maxim. That one has been around my household as long as I can remember. I do not remember a time in my life where I haven't heard the words Mary Maxim. Never been. So it's kind of on my list of places I'd like to go. I'd love to go see their one store they have left. That would be really amazing. It would be like, I don't know how I can describe it. I think that would be really awesome to, take pictures of Mary Maxim. I'm here. I'm actually here. Grandma, look where I am. I've made it. Yarntopia. That would be a cool name for a store, wouldn't I think? Yarntopia. Oh, some people probably already has that, so if you don't have it, if you have heard Yarntopia before, that is cool. It'd be a lovely place, wouldn't it? All the yarn. So I'm just pulling each stitch. I'm really giving it a good pull before I do the next one to be sure that I'm not getting any loose spots, and so far it has been working. Now going into my tougher style side. Purl. I can knit and I can purl. But I find my purls aren't as solid, especially considering I haven't really been knitting for the last few years, so this is kind of a this is a challenge. This is. So that's why I'm doing it partially. Because I feel like, yeah, I should be able to do that. I used to knit more than I've ever crocheted, and I've made a lot more knitting than I've made crochet, which is surprising. Well, maybe not. I'm going to say we're probably pretty neck and neck at this point because of the amount of crochet that I have made, actually. Now that I think about it. We're probably right on par. Probably made about as much of both. Which is not a bad thing. Not a bad thing at all. We want to pull those really tight, and that's where I struggle. I find that I was leaving some loose, and when I went back, those holes were just absolutely heartbreaking. I did not like how that was going, and I just don't want that to be. I couldn't be proud of my work, which of course is super important. Let's not get hooked. Oh, don't do that. Ooh, that is the problem with this ring. This ring is fantastic for this application, but I have to be careful that it doesn't hook into the piece. It wasn't before, and now that we're getting a little bit of length, it definitely just hooked in there, and I'm glad I caught it before I just pulled my hand out and would have ripped my stitch open. Whew, that would not have been pretty. I would have been pretty upset. Because, of course, that's the very beginning, and I don't want to have to take this apart again. I believe I have 120 stitches. It's my base, and that's quite a bit to count. Counting is hard. It's really hard. It's like math. I sent my husband a reel today. Been telling him how much math is involved with planning how much yarn you need, and he's just like, he looks at me, he's like, it can't be that bad. I'm like, oh, it is. It is. And this lady was talking about how it's like algebra. She wanted to recreate the Taylor Swift dress, and she needed to figure out how much yarn she needed, so she started doing all her figuring, and it went fast with like a Mickey Mouse type voice. She was talking so fast, and I sent it to him. I'm like, here, you figure that out. Go for it. Because I'm not the biggest math fan, and so me having to figure out math stuff has been quite the challenge. I was telling him that. It is challenging trying to make sure you have enough yarn. And there's a lot of factors to it because he doesn't understand dye lots. I tried explaining it to him a little bit. He kind of understands, but kind of like, well, it can't be that bad. It's like, yes, it sure can. It sure can. That was black, might be a little bit off black on the next dye lot, and it's not going to match. If you had the same dye lot, you wouldn't notice that there's that much of a difference, but if it's two different dye lots, you can really tell a difference. I have seen people just panicking because they don't know what to do, and I wouldn't know what to do either if that were me. And I'm sure it'll happen to me at some point. It's got to. I don't always buy enough yarn, so I don't know. I believe this yarn, this Line brand that I'm using right now, the ice cream, doesn't have dye lots. It doesn't need them. So let's hope for the best, right? We're doing just fine. Ring is comfortable. I can only really wear it on my pinky finger. If I try it on another finger, it makes my fingers go numb. Yep, and my first shawl for me, and I, looking at this in the viewfinder, love it. I do. I love this yarn. I really do. And I love this yarn. I love a lot of yarns. I got a lot of love for yarns. I am am sure I'm not the only one. My youngest daughter the other night, she was super tired. And I put on some, Bago Day was having a yarn haul. And sometimes that makes my kids just calm down. They like looking at the different textures, watching her rub it all over their face. They love it when she smells the yarn. They think it's great. So do I. And so she got a yarn haul, and it was very bougie, expensive yarn, which was really nice. And, well, expensive for me. Anyways, I started dozing off a little because, it's late and my daughter's laying on my arm and we're chilling because she's still a toddler and not quite ready to self-regulate enough to go to sleep. So quite often we'll just lay together until she's asleep, and then I roll her on her own and she's good for the rest of the night. She just needs a little bit still. So we're watching it, and I close my eyes for a few minutes, and I guess there's a beautiful, beautiful blue yarn that was shown. She was so upset with me because my eyes were closed and I didn't get to see this beautiful blue yarn, and I wanted you to see it so bad. She was so tired and just so emotional about me not missing out on this yarn, and I was just like, sweet for her. Oh, it was very cute. I wanted you to love the yarn. Kids are my girls really fully support my yarn addiction, and my husband sometimes just kind of looks at me like I've brainwashed them, he says. I'm like, no. They like the yarn wall. They do. My collection behind me there. When they're feeling upset, one of their calm down things is to look at their favorite yarns. Pick your favorite yarn and just look at it. Maybe if you ask nicely and calm down, Mom will let you touch it. That you just feel it up. Sometimes I just give them the balls of yarn and just let them go. I have a little container full of 3 of them that I need to detangle again. I just haven't done it yet. Been busy sorting through toys and trying to make the living area a little bit more livable. The toys have taken over. The girls do not have a lot of space to play, so their toys take over the living room pretty fast. And we're at that point where everything is just a jumbling mess, and anytime they want to find anything, they have to dig through tons of stuff. And it's not working, so. The youngest really likes it when we put toys back in the right spot, so she likes having her little bin thing sorted properly. And she's been working really hard to make sure everything gets put back where it should be so she can find it later. The middle one's kind of all over the place. She would like to kick things underneath the couch, which loses them, and then she gets upset with me when she can't find them. I'm going, okay, but if you keep kicking things under the couch, you're never going to find it. I have to tell myself the same thing. Put it away when you're done, or you may not be able to find it. Like your 4mm hook that you put on your bed, probably got up to do something real quick, and it fell off into no man's land, which you thought you looked in, and you didn't see it there, but now it's there again. So, let's just blame ghosts. We'll blame ghosts. That's what we'll do. Because that's usually my go-to. It's a ghost. Ooh. But I'm trying really hard to make sure that we're all getting into the habit of put it back when you're done. So you want it. It's there. Don't just leave that book that you probably won't look at for another week on the couch, because it will just get wrecked. It will get misplaced. Or even worse, you might never get back to that project. You've decided you're not going to be looking at that anymore, and you just never pick it back up again, and it just sits there forever. Anyways. Like I said, this one is coming together nicely. I really like the way it's knitting. This is looking really good. This is going to be really nice, and it is so soft. I like this yarn a lot. If you have a chance to get it, I recommend it. This is my second foray into this type of yarn, and my little daughter hugs it whenever possible. She already has the shirt out of the pink. Anyways, thanks for joining me here at All the Crackers in the Box. And I'll see you again really soon with more crochet, fibery stuff, crochet, knitting, whatever, See you soon. Bye.